Welcome guys. Today we'll begin the conversations of design verification and validation, which is the crucial part of the product designing and development process. Before the product reaches the customers, it undergoes the several steps ensure that is not only meets design the specification but is also perform and expected from in the real world. So so now the verifications means the check whether the build product light, in the other words ensure that the design meets the requirement or and technical standards. On the other hand, validation ask whether we build the right product, ensure the product actually satisfy users need the expectation. So both the process where virtually reduce the design error, minimize the production cost, and the improve the overall product quality in the industry, such as the automotive, aerospace, and electronics. Verifications and validations of the graduated reliable and safety regulations complementations before the mass production begin. Throughout the unit, we'll be explore the modern tools process like the CAE, CFD, MBD, FSI, simulation driven designs, additive manufacturing, and quality assurance system that make verification and validations efficient and data driven. So, so there is a syllabus of the unit FEA, CFD, MAD, FSI, simulation driven design, additive manufacturing policy, and homologous certification, and national and international agency introduced to break even analysis and production capacity planning, make versus buy decision, business case preparation, facility tooling, engage design and development, vendor developments, letter and intent, purpose of order, product costing, product testing, validations, introduce the production part approval process, and tools as a PPAF. There is a previous question for November December 2023. Questions are to list down the different method of economics analysis of the product and explain break even analysis. So rapid prototyping and define the various methods of the prototyping. Define the later inter purchase order and product costings in vendor development. So explain the stereolithography in detail with the suitable sketch. What is the product capacity planning and explain the steps of follow in a planning. What is the homology? Why homology certification is important in product development with an examples. So next question paper is April-May 2023. So list down the various methods of economic analysis of product explained in break-even rapid prototype already say define the letter intent purchase order and costing vendor development, explain the stereography, product capacity planning, homology certification already repeated, whole questions are repeated. So design simulations, one rapid prototype simulations by vision, write the make by a decisions in the product development with an example, write notes on additive manufacturing, different product testings and product validations. So next one is a finite element analysis method on complement mechanical design. So finite element analysis is an essential eccentric computerized method for the analyze the effect of the electromagnetic field, mechanical stresses, dynamic force and loads, prolonged sitting thermal shocks, and the payload of mechanical product and their component. So the finite element analysis. So finite element is the most powerful tool used in a design verification. It is the computerized method to help the engineer understand how the product component will be behave under the different condition like stress, strain, loads, fixed supports like vibrations, even the electromagnetic force. In a simple terms, API is divided into a complex object into the small parts called as a finite element. It is the behave like a mini versions is actual structures, and the mathematical equation describe how it react the stress, strain, temperature when the element are connected from the that mesh is represented by the complex product. So typically the standard finite element techniques is included includes durability, failure analysis, tolerance, dimension analysis, design optimizations, and various other tasks like APA method, most common performance software, and delivered through the analysis of the function and physical aspect of the systems, material, mechanical, and design of the product. So, for example, for engineer can test how the bridge react heavy traffic in aircraft wing bends under the aerodynamics load, how the smartphone frame handle drop. Overall, the API ensures that the product design is a safe, efficient, and cost-effective long behavior in the go to the products. So, So the advantage of APA in compliance with the mechanical design. The advantages of the finite element analysis are for an example, it can be used for the demonstrate a new decision concept that will be help to engineering term predict it is the possible real world behavior under the desired load environment. So, advantages. So one of the major advantages of finite element analysis is the allow the engineering predict real world performance even the before physical prototype is made. This is the significant save the both cost during the product development. It is break down the so first is API help is diagram optimizations. Sorry, design optimizations. So engineers can experiment with the different material shapes and dimensions virtual and find the best combinations of the met strength and performance requirement. Secondary, it is the reduce the need of the multiple prototype. Traditionally product has to be go through the repeated cycle physical testing which is the expensive and time consuming. With the APA many thus is liberated and replacement by the computer simulations. Third, APA provide the valuable insight into the stress concentration areas, deformation patterns for the potential failure zones, information that is difficult to impossible to the measure the physically. Finally, it is the improve and safety and reliability. So based on the analysis is suitable for the alternative and easy made for finalized drawing, and once its detailed CAD model is developed the product engineer team can be analyze the details with APA. We have the time is resources limit the number of prototype required. Apart from that existing product has been facing field problems is undergoing upgrade can be also analyzed, and space and process limit is cost. So biggest strength of the finite element analysis technique is a sensitive software. It is all APA softwares like Lisa and C's Hyperwork. It is the sensitive software. It is the deliver in-depth precise analysis of the virtual physical functional aspect as a material systems and product in 3D CAD design etc etc. For example, how the washing machine will be operate, how the durable its irrigation. So for that matters any other component would you be all these answers can be delivered from APA. So, finite element analysis method is essential design consulting original mechanical equipment manufacturers and the fluid machinery equipment designer, research and development designer, civil engineers, and satellite and missile development programs. So finite element analysis is both that systems will be goes undergoes. So FA techniques is can be applied to solve wide range problems, but by fair one of the most common applications of the structure FA that can be predict how the solid body will be response to electric, magnetic, and mechanical forces. The structural EVA often amount of opening down the individual governing equation that represent the material. It is the important characteristics and solving these equation for their corresponding physical components. So how FEA is work? How FEA is work? First pre-processing. Second one is a solution. So this is the opening phase of APA process that which is the team is analysis develop the finite element mesh to the segmented test. This subjected geometry into the multiple subdomain to allow the mathematical analysis. So the analysis that can be apply important material properties as well as boundary condition as well as the subdomain ultimate goals that face during the bring forth accurate finite element mesh, allocate facilities, material properties, and designated boundary condition What is the load of the resistance? It is the pre-processing of the finite element analysis. So second one is the solution. In this phase, the software uses FEA process deriving the matrix equation from the model that is solved the individual for the all primary equation, while the both pre and post processing phases are the time consuming and integrative by the nature. The solution phase is a more batch of the process as realized. It is the solution part of the FEA. Third one is the post. So third and final step of FEA methods. So post processing. So post processing is printing a PPT error. So third and final step of API is a post processing. After the finite element model is created, tested, and entire model is solved successfully, our team is analysis, monitoring, and validations of the solution. It is additional and closing examinations of the value. All the preliminary quantities like a stress and displacement they can be extracted from the test addiction quantities, and the error indicator specialize the stresses etc. will be indicated. So there is an image of analysis. So sorry, FEA software will be created the analysis of that component. So the red area is a high stresses area, uh, green area is a low stresses area, blue one is a moderate stresses area. Like that was it is categorized. So computational fluid dynamic, it is the CFT. C for the computational, F for the fluid, and D for the dynamics. Computational fluid dynamic, it is the science that with the help of the digital computer and product quantitative predictions of the fluid flow phenomena based on the conventional flow conversation mass momentum and energy governing of the fluid motion. So CFDs analyze the fluid flow phenomena. So fluid how's the react, how's the flow, what is the direction of fluid, what is the governing fluid, what is the mass movement, that is energy. So that is undergoes as a CFD. The the key version of the numerical method is convert the partial difference equation that is governing and physical phenomena into the system's algebraic equations. Different techniques are available in this conversation. CFD is merely a tool analyze the fluid flow problem. It is used correctly and it can provide the useful information and cheaply and the quickly. It is CFD. So numerical flow analysis using CFD, that is the one analysis of this part, that is the CFD analysis. Computational fluid dynamics within the software using like ANSYS, LISA, Hyperwork. So CFD is applied to wide range of research and engineering problem in many fields of the students and industrial including. So CHD is CFD is the use of the engineering problems like structural component of the pipes, lines, or flow meters, flow pressures, flow energy, flow phenomena to study the industrial in included and research. So aerodynamics is aerospace analysis, hypersonic, weather solution, natural science, environment engineering, industrial and design analysis for the biological engineering, fluid flow, heat transfer, engine combustion analysis via the visual effect and film games. So multi-body dynamics, MBD, multi-body dynamics is just called short form is MBD. MBD the multi-body system is which simulate in the study of the motion of mechanical system caused by the external force and the motion existation acting on the system. It is the causes by the external force. It is the multi-body dynamics. It is the causes by the mechanical systems as causes by the external forces. It is this multi-body systems. Yeah, MPD is incorrected FEA which is helped in reduce the time of reduce the time. So which is the same level of accuracy including like a meshing, like a boundary condition study. MPD is analysis how the mechanism work under the influences of force like that. So industrial applications include industrial applications like automotive, aircraft, defense, military, spacecraft, robotic, agriculture, construction, manufacture, etc. It is the industrial application. So engineering is a judgment about basis on the analysis using embedded simulations. So multi-body systems. It is the so just 1 minute. It is the multi-body system. First one is a force element. Second one is a global local reference name. Third one is a point. Fourth one is a mark. Fifth one is a rigid flex body. Fifth one is a joint. Seventh one is motion. It is the multi-body systems. It is the cover the whole body. It is whole points. It is that's why its name is a multi-body systems. So, equation governing embedded simulation. This whole idea of embedding was developed based on the Newton's second law of motion, like F is equals to m into a. The equations of the motions are the used is the describe dynamic behavior of a multi-body systems. So, so it is usually equation of motion F into ma are the used described in dynamic behavior in the multi-body system, which is system is had the different mathematical approach for the equations of the motion while the physical behind the same equation as written for the general motion in a single body. So additions of the constant conditions. So fluid structural interactions FSI. F stand for fluid, S for structural, I for interactions. So fluid structural interaction FSI. It is the multi-physical coupling between the law and describe of the fluid dynamics. So it is between the law the desired fluid dynamics. It is the structural mechanism. It is the phenomena is characterized by the interaction which is the stable oscillatory between the deformed and moving structure like a surrounding integral fluid flow sorry. So when the fluid flow is encounter a structural stresses strain exerted on the solid object, force can be lead to deformation. This deformation can be quite the large or small, very small, depending on the pressure and velocity of the flow. So material property of the structural. So there is a analysis of the one component. There is a flow that is the motion, that is the material property indicators, the colors indicators, stress strain. Simulation derived design. So simulation derived design, it is generate simulate analysis. So 3D concept manufacturing system modeling. So manufacturing system modeling 3D concept, it is the simulation driven design systems. So, simulation driven system is defined as a design process where the decision related behavior about and performance of the artifact and significant supported by the computer based product modeling and simulation. So, go for the YouTube video for the more detailed information about the simulation driven design. So, next one is additive manufacturing. It is short from AM. It is additive manufacturing. So, what is the additive manufacturing? The material is layer upon layer is material poor. It is called as additive manufacturing. So, add the material. It is the additive manufacturing, and subtract the material. It is subtractive manufacturing. It is the one difference between additive and subtractive. It is the appreciated name as they describe the technology like a 3D object adding layer upon layer of the material. Whether the material is plastic, concrete, metal, or one day human tissue. So advantages: freedom of the shape, freedom of the compositions, reducing waste, easy to use, digital manufacturing. It is as a additive manufacturing. Policy of homologation certification. Homologation is the process to clarify the vehicle roadworthiness and the per specification criteria led by the government of all the vehicles are made and or imported in the country. So test ensure that the vehicle match the required in terms of emissions, safety, roadwide standards is not fitted under the Central Motor Vehicle Rule 1988 in the NATRIP in the largest one of the most significant interactive in automobile sector so far government to establish enhance the capability to exist to homology and testing centers across the country for the policy and homologation certification. So NATRIP has the established or process established world-class facilities for the homology and testings of the vehicles such as engine powertrain, passive safety, EMS, NHU fatigues, certification of materials, tires, vehicle dynamics, some of the which will be a first facility within the country. So homology is a technical term driven from the Greek homology, homologio, for the to agree, which is the generally used in English to signify the granting approval by the official authority. So example of tested item. So one is car. It is example of car. So passive safety is a important for the tested. So moderate active safety, moderate component and systems is medium. Environment it is the signal for the green light. Light red yellow is a passive safety, orange one is active, blue one is a component, and gray one is a environment. So red one is a passenger protection crash test. When the car is dummy, I put in the car dummy, so real car is being tested for the crash test. It is the passenger protection test, that's called as a crash test. So child resistance, so seat belts, it is the sorry, okay, go through the next slide. So break even analysis, so it is the break even, so sales versus units sold, it is the showing the graph. So there one is a orange part is a losses or green part is a profit. So there one each point it is a break even point. So first one is a variable cost, so variable cost to fixed cost, so total cost or total revenue. So when the variable cost is cross for the total cost, it is point is called as a break even point. It is the break even analysis. So there we start to the profit. So what is break-even analysis? So break-even analysis is still the minimum output and sales needed for cover all cost at this point at neither the profit or loss meaning. Why the importance of engineers to help the making cost-effective decisions in a project like choosing material, process or design options. So why is important choosing the material, process or design options? It is make sure the component is be make sure the component is clearly aesthetic, safe, quality checks. It is required to create a product like a best of best product for the create. You are necessary to check the material, process or design options. So product capacity and planning. So product capacity planning is a critical process in a manufacturing in operations management that they ensure the company can be fit futures demand in the products or the services. So product capacity planning is a crucial process for futures demand in the product or the services. So features demand in product or services, it is the product capacity planning. It involves determine the resources and requirements such as the equipment, labor and the material to the produce the certain volume of good within the specific time of frame. So first one is understanding capacity. So capacity is referred for the maximum output of the production systems can be achieved over a specific period under the normal working condition. It is the typically measure the unit production per hour, per day, per week. It is the understanding capacity. So steps to in step in production capacity planning. So forecasting demand, B is a capacity requirement planning. So CRAP, it is called as a CRP. So first one is a forecasting demand. The first step is estimate the feature demanded of the product. It can be based on the historical sales data market research or the futures order. So costing help the identify the level of the production needed to meet the customer demand. So product is need meet to the customer demand. So that is the forecasting demand. So capacity requirement planning, CRP. So after the forecasting, next step is assess the whether existing product is capacity can be meet the forecasting demand. So like one more interesting things, whether the existing product capacity can be meet the forecasted demand. So existing product capacity, so what they will need to that one product has been public choose that meet the forecast demands. So okay, it will be done. Will we go for the next CRP involves the comparing the current production capacity, capability, machine, workforce, etc. with the demand of forecasting. The capacity followed by short adjustment like a hiring more the staff or purchasing the new equipment may be necessary. So C is a resource assessment. So identify and analyze the production resource, machinery, labor, materials that are the required meet the production needs. So check the bottlenecks and where the production slow down, which is the could reduce the overall capacity. B is the planning of capacity adjustment, short term adjustment, overtime, outsourcing, and temporary hires can be short term. Capacity gaps, long-term adjustment. So if it demands the increase significant more substantial changes like expanding production facility, acquiring new machinery, redesigning process may be necessary. So second one is a factor considered it make be a buy decision. For first one is a cost analysis, capacity and resource availability, quality control, lead and time flexibility, core consumptions, interpretation, properties, long-term supplier relations. Third one is a make or buy analysis process. So first one define the requirement. So clarify that identify a part or product, be analyzed with the specification, consider the design complexity, material requirement and the quantity standards. So second one is the cost estimation. For the make options, estimate the cost raw material, labor, overhead and any additional investment requirements such as a new machinery. So buy for the buy options, gather the quotations for the suppliers, calculate association cost like a shaping, quality inspection as a possible trip. So third one is the non-effective factors. Evaluate the non-effective factors such as the quality, lead time, strategically important. Consider the risk associated with the outsourcing such as the loss of control, dependence on the suppliers or potential delays. First one is the decision making. So using the like break even analysis with the scrolling model, companies can be compare the total cost of benefit, which is the if the cost of making is less than by a strategic consideration align, the company will be likely choose make part in house, otherwise the buy option may be preferred. So business case preparation, first one is a define the problem. So define problem, what the want customers need, it is define the problem, define your problem. So conduct market research, so that define problems need, conduct market research about that particular point. Set one objective of this one objective or scope, that is the to identify or help to that one systems. So improvement then systems, so improvement on the product. So set the objective. So develop a solution for that objective, develop a solution, one creative one solution. So analysis the cost analysis of that product, revenue or profit projections. So plot the revenue or profit realization. So next one is a risk analysis, what is the failure of the product, what is the failure of material, what is the when the fail the product, it is the risk analysis. So identify the risk analysis. So competitive analysis, so what your competitors will be do in that products, what do you do. So analysis of competitors, so analysis in competitors. So market interest strategy, make market interest strategy. So suppose your product as a clothing brand, so launch your clothing brand at the times of Diwali seasons. so your product will be more showcase. So make a market strategy. So next one is the financial model. Create your model. Your idea is a financial model. So whole financial conditions are there to be done. Implementations and the plans. Who's the thought you plan about that product or information gather like so implement in that plans. So what do you thought? So conclusion and recommendations for executive summary, representations, review or submissions. That is the so facilities tooling the gauge designs and development. Designing and development facilities tooling the gauge and essential aspect of the mechanical engineering, especially industrial such as the manufacturing and the quality controls. So vendor development. Vendor development is a strategical process through the which is company establish and maintain the relationship with the suppliers and vendors to ensure the reliable and efficient supply chain. So involve the identification and evaluating the collaborating with the suppliers to meet the company needs and the goal. So vendor development is a strategical process which is the company established. So relations, it is vendor development is a relationship process. So relations is the most important with the vendors. So suppliers and vendors ensure that the reliable or efficient supply chain. So vendor or supplier is a efficient supply chain, reliable efficient supply chains. So involving identify the evaluate and collaborating or suppliers meet to company needs goal. Okay. So letter non latent. So LOI, letter of latent in latent, sorry latent, latent and latent LOI is a document that the outline preliminary understanding the agreement between the two or more parties. So work towards the formal act at the aggression. So typically use the various contexts including the business transactions and partnerships, acquisitions, real estate for the simulations where the parties use the express their intents to the work together. So purchase order PO, it is the purchase order. Purchase order is a formal documentation the buyer to the seller or the suppliers to request the goods and services to the outlined terms and conditions. So the purchase, so purchase is a critical part of the procurement process to serve a legally blending contract between the buyer and the smaller. Here is a breakdown of the key element typically found in the purchase order. So product costing, product costing is a so just so product testing. So product testing and validation for integral ensuring the product quality and the reduce the risk and defect the recall centric and interaction process that help the deliver the product that is meet the exceed customer expectations or safe for the use. The commonly relevant the standards and regulations. So introduction to production part of approval process and tools, PPAF. So production part of approval process, PPAF, it is a standardized the framework. So use the automobile or manufacturing industry ensure that the component and the part produced by the suppliers meet the requirement quality standards before they are the incorporated so into the final product. PPA is a systematic approaches that they involve the set tools and documentations to verify and approach the quality and the part during the early stage of the production. So approve the quality part during the early stage of the production. So PPF purpose. So ensuring that the supplier part meet a design specification and quality requirement. Second one is a verification and the production process. Third one is a reduce the risk defect. Fourth one to provide the standardized approach. So communication document between the supplier and customers. So rework, non-production, financial product, capable consistent producing, the meet the design specification and quality. So verify the product process. So reduce the risk, provide a standardization. So PPF documentation. Core component PPF process is a complementary achievement set of the document. This is the document are submitted by the supplier, customers and the typically include. So part of submissions warrant is control plan process flow diagram, FMEA is a failure model and effect analysis, measurement analysis, measurement system analysis, dimension results, material test report, initial sample inspection reports. Thank you.